Hi, Jenny here. Today is Thursday. Dun, dun, dun. You see all this? Today is Thursday, July 13th. And as you can see, yesterday was my last chemo treatment. Woo! Treatment number 8. So I decided to put this together to say my journey started in February with CT and MRI scans, and in March I started the chemo, and through April, and then May, June, and into July. That's a pretty long journey. It's a whole lot of days, especially when you see it all laid out like that at once. But, so there it is. So yeah, yesterday was also Wayne and my 27th wedding anniversary. So yeah, got to celebrate that with the oncology staff. So I got to celebrate my birthday there, got to celebrate our anniversary there. That's okay, keeping me alive. So because of that, both things being mainly because of the last treatment, I also put together a treat box as a thank you for the staff. I wrote out a nice thank you letter. Cried a little during that on Tuesday afternoon. I'm writing out the thank you letter and I'm crying, and did a few more tears on that day. But anyways, like I've said before, I really like the staff that's there. Everybody has been so kind and so helpful and caring and listening and empathetic, and always trying to help out, whether talking to the doctor about things or my side effects, or giving hints on what they've known other people have tried and what might help me, and things like that. So, and they've been there, granted twice a week, for they test so 16 times, but they were very appreciative of that. So that was very nice. So we appreciate them. So, well, here we are. This is the entrance of the place that I go in. Should be the last time. Well, I got Friday pump removal, but today's the last chemo. Here's my beast of burden carrying all our goodies. Yeah, we did that. So as per usual, got the needle put in. I'm, sent home with my pump, so I've got one more day to go there. I'll be there tomorrow to get the pump removed and get my shot. So that should be the last shot that I get. Got weighed in. It remains steady. My weight's good. Saw the doctor. Doctor was happy that weight remained good throughout this, so that was a good thing. My numbers were all good, and asked me if I had any questions. And so this being the last treatment, knowing that step 2 is now the radiotherapy, I had some questions. Otherwise before this it was kind of like, oh, we know what's going on, we know how the treatments go, we know the side effects, we know, got our routine, and knowing what days I'm going to be tired or maybe have a stomach ache, or so now we're going into a new routine. We'll be doing, like I said, the radiotherapy, have that consultation appointment on July 21st. So we'll know more then about what's all going on, but my oncologist still is the doctor for the chemotherapy part. So I will be taking capecitabine pills on the days that I have radiation. So I should be having radiation Monday through Friday. I'll be taking the pills during that time. Saturday and Sunday are off. But he still is kind of in charge of that type part. And I've seen other videos, and through the support groups that I'm on, I've seen people have taken these pills and kind of some side effects and whatever. So I'm kind of asking, like, number 1, can I take these pills with food? I don't think they're that big of a pill from what I've seen online. It's kind of like probably, I don't know, round, I don't know, what, bare aspirin type size or something, or but I asked if I could take it with food, because what I saw online, I think it said take within 30 minutes of a meal. I'm like, okay, well, before, after, during. And he was kind of like, well, double check on that, but I think so. And I'm like, I can put it in my applesauce, and so just in case I have trouble swallowing or whatever. Also maybe to help prevent mouth sores, because the pills are fairly toxic, I guess. That, yeah, so if I could take that with some food, that would be helpful. And then I know another side effect is nausea. So I'm like, am I going to be taking some like anti-nausea pills with this also? And he said, we could prescribe anti-nausea pills for you, and we can work on that. I asked how many days the treatment would be, and he was looking at the computer and he thought maybe 30 and 35, and I was like, oh. Like, I was thinking maybe 20, 25, and Wayne said he thought maybe in the beginning he mentioned 15, and I'm like, okay. I said, so he was kind of, I think surprised that I was surprised, and so he kind of like brought it back and said, you know what, we're gonna have a meeting about that. We're gonna go over all that in the future, when it's time. So let's just bring it back to today, and let's focus on today. Which is kind of funny, because that's been my mantra all along, of that if I start getting a little anxious about whatever's coming ahead, that I'm like, nope, we'll think about that more when it's time, and when I have to actually deal with that. Today is Thursday, and I'm going to deal with today, and what can I do today to make my day a happy day, and focus on today. And but I was kind of like, well, he's like, yeah, we'll let the radiation oncologist figure out how many appointments it's going to be, and all that. So I said, it's okay. Again, I said, if I had, 1 to 5 questions, and I'm like, okay, we're kind of done with part 1, and I know how this is going to go, and now we're on to part 2, and so now I've got questions on, just kind of want to wrap my head around what's going to be happening then. So I said, I need to take it all in, and, have a couple days to process it and figure out how that's going to go. So we shall see. With radiation, again, projection, from what I've seen from some people say radiation is easier than chemo. Some people have said that it's a little bit harder because, one, you're going to get what feels like a sunburn, the skin's going to turn red, and you could get blistering. And I know they have creams for that. They prescribe them, or I don't know if it's over the counter, but there are creams that can help with all that, and that should be fine. And then obviously with the nausea, if there's anti-nausea pills, that should help with that. And I know they're quicker appointments. It's only like a little 15-minute appointment. Granted, there's still going to be, the drive there, and then the waiting for the appointment, because that's going to take some time, and then having the actual appointment, and then driving home. And now you get fatigued from this also. So usually you get about a week to 2 weeks of, the 5 to 10 days that it'll be kind of okay. And then the fatigue kind of sets in. So I've had people tell me, just, listen to your body and rest when that happens. I'm like, okay, good to know. Also, as far as driving there, I know Wayne has been very good about being able to be at all these appointments, but now this being a Monday through Friday thing every day, even though, again, like I said, it's 15 minutes, it's actually half an hour to get to the hospital we're going to go to. So that's an hour drive there and back, and then you put in like a half an hour appointment. So it's at least an hour and a half, and then if he'd have to go into work, take his half an hour to get to work. So if I get a morning appointment for that, that would be wonderful. We shall see, and I should be able to drive myself at least for that week or 2, and then we'll go from there. So that's that. So far with this last chemo treatment, I'm feeling fine. Once again, symptoms are like they were before. So that's good. I had a little bit of tingling of the fingers right as the oxaliplatin was ending, but that didn't really continue. Felt more like a little hand crampy, like I felt before. The calves felt a tad tight, but they didn't cramp up or anything, so that was good. Even like typing, today typing hasn't been too bad. I haven't made too many mistakes that I've had to delete and fix. Or writing. A lot of times when I'm writing, it kind of either hurts or it looks so super sloppy, but that's been okay. Sore throat, that kind of kicked in towards the end. Being our anniversary, we celebrated with a Jimmy John's sub. Wayne's like, do you want any food? Do you want to like... Usually I'm kind of still hungry on Wednesdays, at least for lunch. We'll see. And then with the other days, like I said, today's usually a pretty good day. Tomorrow, usually I have a stomach ache. Saturday, I have a stomach ache, so I may eat 1 or 2 meals. Otherwise, kind of do maybe some snacking or just don't eat much, but then I'll make up for it by that next week. So, so I thought, well, I'm just kind of in a mood for a BLT sub from Jimmy John's. So we had that yesterday for lunch. That was nice. The sore throat thing was kind of still there, and it's one of those, like I've said before, that it makes you want to eat comfort food. You just want, or while I'm eating, it feels fine. Drinking is still kind of Still, again, the room temperature, like the Fiji water, it was smooth and goes down nicely. I had him do a liquid IV with some Fiji water, so it was room temperature, and that went down fine. Last night I ended up having a little bit of Sprite because my stomach ache kind of came back. It's like you can only eat so much. Like I said, while I'm eating, it feels pretty good, but then then as I keep then the stomach almost kind of get a stomach ache a little bit, or it gets full, and I can't can't really eat any more. So I've sucked on some Lifesavers and butterscotch candies too, and that's also helped. Trying to think of other side effects like that I was having way before, but with these last few treatments, that's been about the extent of it. So last night I ended up having a really gurgly stomach. Don't know why as far as eating. Like I said, I had the sub sandwich, and then in reality I had maybe some potato chips, kind of like was snacking for dinner. I had that, and then part of the snack box I bought for the staff, they bought a bag of bite-sized candy bars, and I put enough in there. We had a few leftovers that I left at home, and so I had bite-sized Almond Joy, and then a York peppermint patty, also thinking that mint also kind of helps soothe the stomach. And that did for a little while. So that was kind of my dinner. Had the sub sandwich for lunch, and I kind of had like 2 handfuls of chips and 2 little bite-sized candy bars for dinner. So in reality, that shouldn't have upset the stomach, again, it's also part of the side effect of the chemo, the Fluorosil that I'm having right now. So yeah, a lot of gurgling going. At midnight, I took some Tums, and that kind of helped. At 2 a.m., it was still kind of gurgling. So I took an anti-nausea pill. Fell asleep probably like 3 a.m. So again, these first nights, the first night with the pump, I don't really sleep well. It's probably why I sleep really well the second night, because I don't get much sleep the first night. So the second night I make up for it. So that was about it. So the bathroom talk. So I having the girdles in the stomach, and then with the large colon. My large colon the last week and a half, last week too, it was active. I have mentioned before that the large colon still, even though it's not working per se, it's still alive. So it still produces mucus to kind of keep itself alive. And so like every couple of weeks in that, I may have some mucus come out my butt. Last week I also had a couple little like baby pea size poops come out the butt. I'm like, okay. So that was a little bit more than usual. We called the doctor on that, and she said, nope, that's fine, that's expected. Again, because of part of my diverted ileostomy. I guess what happens is where the small intestine kind of connects to the large intestine, where they cut it, they kind of put both pieces out. And so sometimes the feces can get back into the large colon, which is why then it comes out your butt. Don't know really how that happens. The intestines are just there. Granted, one of them outputs and the other one's kind of there. So whether, sometimes when the poo is more thick and it kind of comes out of the stoma and all that, and it kind of sits there like a ball on top. And it doesn't, I suppose, it's sideways like it's in my stomach. And I have a ball on there, and so it doesn't drop down to go to the bottom of the bag. So sometimes I can feel that. I can feel some pressure, a little pinching, and I know. So a lot of times I don't feel any output coming out, and I got to look down and see if my bag's full or whatever. But sometimes I do. When it's a little bit thicker, I can kind of feel it, and I look and notice there's a ball. So I kind of like pinch it off, and then I kind of squeegee it down so it goes to the bottom, so it's not there. Granted, when I'm sleeping and that happens, sometimes it'll just, the pool will sit on top of the ileostomy, where both of the small, small intestine and large intestine are there. I've got the poo covering it, so I don't know if at that point in time it kind of gets in there. Don't really know how that all works. Know it was kind of normal to have a little bit coming out. Didn't see the battery light blinking or anything. Battery just shut off on me, so new battery. In any case, so I don't know how that all works. Know it's kind of normal. Okay. Last night, more so this morning. Oh, that was this morning, more like 5:30 a.m. or whatever. Again, I had gurgles going on in the whole intestine area. It felt like gas moving through the large colon. Felt a little pressure on my butt, like I had a poop. But I kind of thought, well, it wasn't like the pressures I had before. I felt like probably it was just more gas that wanted to come out or something. But I'm like, all right, whatever. Went to the bathroom, and I actually had some diarrhea come out my butt. So, like, okay, well then. So I'm just thinking, well, maybe that was part of the flushing of all, the cancer cells. So all this medicine is doing its job, what it's supposed to be. All my prayers, thinking, I love my body, I love my life, I love being here on this earth, and even though when you have something wrong, like when you have cancer cells, I put love towards those cancer cells. At nighttime, when I'm saying my prayers and covering myself in the white light and sending my my whole body love, starting, each organ type of thing too, going from the brains, the eyes, the ears, the nose, the mouth, the eustachian tubes, the the heart, the lungs, the stomach, the kidneys, the liver, the gallbladder, pancreas, down to the, the womb and the fallopian tubes and the bladder, and then go down to the intestines and even down to the cancer cells. And I picture these tiny little hearts, and I like pound the little cancer cell, and I just kind of shoot little love hearts at it. It's like, no, because I love you, but I also want you out of my body. So maybe that's part of the flush. Got some of that out. Get some of those cancer cells that should be dying off with the treatments that I'm going through and stuff. They just kind of flush those out of my body. So maybe, hopefully. So yeah, at least that was only once. I kind of had that, and then I had some more gurgles a little half an hour later, and then there was nothing coming out, and now I feel fine. So again, this was happening to me. Don't know if it's happened to anybody else. Like I said, I know I've heard about the mucus coming out. People have had that. I know I've heard of some people say about sometimes they've had a little bit of feces come out just because of the diverted ileostomy. That can happen. So again, normal, okay. That's all that's going on. So again, yay. Last IV chemo treatment, I made it through that, made it well. And like I said, we will see what happens on the next part of the journey and get through that. And as far as the holiday type things go, like I said, with the anniversary and all that, again, as my husband says, next year we just celebrate double. So it'll be big celebrations of, okay, made it through, still alive, keep on kicking. And so, lessons learned from this journey, probably again still concentrate more on one day at a time. What's going on, what's more important, sending out love and light to everybody, which I've also done for a long time, but I still keep that up and pray for everybody I can. I go through and do all my immediate family, and then kind of the area that I live in with some of my neighbors, and then a lot of my friends, and then I kind of go around the world and go through the different states that I know some other YouTubers living in that are going through their own journeys and whatnot, and all my relatives that live in the different states and friends, and then around over into Europe, some people over there, whatever, and Australia, and then back to around home here, as far as in my whole YouTube group, I pray for you, and the whole Facebook group, and go through all my Facebook friends' names and stuff, and doing all that. So you guys all get prayed for too. I appreciate your prayers for me, and I pray for you. So that's about it for today's update. I'll probably give you an update again next Monday on how Friday went with the last shot and all that good stuff too. So appreciate you guys. Keep it positive. Go make it a great day. Bye-bye.